All right, good morning, guys. So here we're going to be replacing our water main today, and I just thought I'd take a second to show you how I'm going to be doing this. So this is the meter from the street. Now I've gone ahead and disconnected this part here, and that's what used to feed my house, and that was a galvanized piece. Now what I'm going to be replacing that with is this piece right here. I've got some tape on there because there's a washer, but this is a water meter connection, and this is a 3/4 inch threaded male pipe. So that's going to connect onto here, and from there we're going to connect our pipe. Now what I'm going to be using for pipe for the first couple of feet is just copper that I'm going to then wrap in this thing. Now the type of copper that I'm using is type L because it's a thicker wall copper. Now you don't want to be using type M. That's going to be a little bit too thin and it won't resist wear, and it can crush. So basically type L if you can. I think there's a thicker wall type 2, type K, but I wasn't able to get that. But type L will work fine. And the way that I'm going to be doing that is I'm going to be connecting the type L to my fitting, and then I'm going to be bringing it to another box, and then that box is going to have its own shutoff. So basically there's going to be a shutoff at the street, and then within my property about 2 feet in, I'm going to be installing this little box, and then that's going to be kind of like my own shutoff. Okay, so I'm working on my assembly here. I've actually kind of pre-assembled everything, and right now I'm wrapping it. Now when you wrap it, I could have probably gone a little tighter, but you want to do about a 50% overlap. And over there I've got my shutoff. So basically when I get this in the ground, I don't have to make any connections in the ground, and I don't have to wrap this in the ground, which would be really difficult. So basically pre-assemble it, and then that's where my shutoff is going to be in my other box. Okay, so I've got my box here. I'm about to set it in the ground. I'm going to open up this opening a little bit. It probably doesn't have to be this big, but I'd rather not hit the pipe. And then here I've got the pipe installed. Now this is wrapped copper, and that's my shutoff right here. This is where the box is going to go. And then from here, we're going to go with PEX. All right, so I've got the box in. So we can see that my valve there is kind of covered with blue tape. It's just because I don't want any dirt getting in there. But this thing's been installed, it's been leveled. And then I've got about 1,000 pounds of sand in the back of my truck, and that's what I'm going to be using to backfill all of this. You want to make sure that you backfill with sand. One, because it's a good insulator, and two, so that you don't get any rocks that are eventually going to crush the pipe over time and cause a leak. Okay, well here we go. I've got the connection made. Got access to my valve right here. Here it goes, inside the house. Now I'm going to backfill this with sand. I'm going to add a bit of dirt. I'm going to water it so it can kind of compress. It's called doing it in lifts. And then I'm going to backfill with more sand, more dirt, water again, and then do a final pass on it. The reason I'm going to water it in is because it helps to compact everything and keeps everything in place. All right, so I don't have city water yet, but I can still test it by backfeeding the system. So basically what I'm doing is I'm going to connect to the shower, to the cold. I have the water heater that's kind of looped in, so it'll basically continue to feed. But basically I'm going to attach this to the hose end, and I'm going to screw that in there, and I'm going to turn on the neighbor's hose, and then that should feed the system, and then I can check everything for leaks, and if everything is good, I can bury it. Okay, so I've got the neighbor's hose connected. I checked everything inside. I'm not seeing any leaks. Let's make sure we do have actually water. Yeah. All right, so that's being backfed in to the neighbors. Okay, so this is going to be the final video before it's fully backfilled. So we can see I've got the sand in here. I started backfilling it with dirt. I'm going to add about 6 inches of dirt, maybe 7. And then I'm going to put a ribbon down, a caution tape. Then I'm going to water it, and I'm going to finish the backfill. But the caution tape will be there in case anybody ever digs here later, or I do. It'll reveal that there's, or explain that there's a pipe underneath there, not to keep digging. All right, so I've got everything buried back up. You can kind of see my my control box here. I'm gonna clean that up a little bit. There we go. Nothing happened. One thing I did forget to mention. So I put the caution tape down, but I also tied a wire to the PEX pipe. It's known as a tracer wire. Whenever you're working with plastic, you want to make sure that you put a tracer wire. Now for the final step, I'm going to be fixing the city sidewalk here. All right, I've got my form in, and these are gonna be the materials. So some paper base that I'm gonna compact on the bottom. So I'm gonna use WD-40 as a form lubricant. I'm gonna use some of this to help the concrete bind to the new sides. Then I'm gonna put a piece of rebar in the middle. And then I'm gonna be using some Quikrete commercial grade. All right, well, I've gone ahead and placed my concrete. So it was a little tricky because there's a small curve on it. And then it flattens out. But yeah, so that was the first step. I just placed everything with this wooden thing. And yeah, just gonna wait for that to kind of sweat out a little bit, and then I'm gonna mag it. All right, well, here's the finished product. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you liked that video. I've got a bunch more videos on stuff like how to work with PEX, how to work with concrete, how to do mud finishing, all kinds of fun stuff. If you like this video, you like what I do, please subscribe. It's what motivates me to keep going, and I'll catch you on the next one.